Thank you for joining this talk, everyone. I'm glad that you are here, and today I'll be talking about SEO for the DevRel and the impact it creates on the business. Personally, I've found an SEO not just a marketing tool, but an essential day-to-day habit that try to incorporate into whether I'm writing a documentation or a blog post, or maybe creating some video tutorial content. Some things about me. In a brief, right now I'm working at Keploy. Keploy is open source developer centric API testing tool. How it works basically, it uses eBPF and generative AI to create your test cases and data mocks, and so you can use it at the later point and while you are in development, so kind of a pre-production, you do your create your test cases so you can make sure that everything is working fine or not. Previously, I have worked with Typeoff as an API engineer and at the Savo Labs and Commerce as a developer, advocate, and community manager. So to grasp the how it works. Now, why does SEO matter for the DevRel? That's the first thing on our agenda, and why I'm the right person. I believe that um, I'm a right person to share my learnings with you because for past couple of years I've been working on optimizing and learning about an SEO and how it drives the organic traffic, and I have seen the results from just the organic without any paid gigs or paid marketings on the keywords or running those ads, and seeing the conversion from an organic user to a client. And that's what I noticed. Why the other devil should care? Because as I said earlier, it's not just a marketing tool. It eventually becomes a part of our daily life, right? And second, most important point I would say is because SEO is a growth engine for the businesses. That's what I believe. Because for whatever piece of content that we write, if it's not SEO optimized or if it's not developer friendly or a reader friendly, then it's just another piece of content that's lying on the internet, just waiting for users or the audience to get attracted to or to find them. So this is about like why it matters, or why should it matters for us. Let's deep dive into some several specific SEO strategies that I think we can implement in a better manner, starting with an ICP and other topic selection. So ICP is generally an ideal customer profile or ideal customer persona. So since we closely work in customer facing or a client facing role where we know who our targeted audience is, or where are we trying to expand our product or our company's influence. So we are very known like who our ideal customer profile or target is, and based on that we can pick what are they searching for. That's the second point that comes in, that the topic selection or a keywords. So for example, here we can see for me United States is an ICP, and I want to know what the testing or a developers are looking around with the AI testing. So as you can see, I have just searched an AI testing and I find that's okay. 10,000, approximately 10,000 global volume. That's an impressive. And if I go in a line order, so I have US, I have India, I have Canada, and few more who lies somewhere around my ICP as well. And in US, already it's like 1.3. So if I write a piece of content that's purely optimized on this specific topic, I know it's going to rank. Maybe people will find it, and the content is not informational but also a commercial or a navigational, I know they'll stay for a bit more longer. So this is about an AI testing. So we got okay the volume, we found the volume, we found out what the volume is, and the difficulty is also less. Now if I add one more word between them, that's AI API testing, I see the global volume is around 150, state volume is somewhere around 30, but it does not have a keyword difficulty, and it works as a commercial. The intent of this keyword is very specific that it's a commercial. So if I take a example of AI testing and and AI API testing and try to integrate this within a piece of a content to lie it around. So that fulfills my ideal scenario. It's a piece of content that is providing informational value, plus it is also providing a commercial value for the company. So informational for the reader and the commercial for the company that I'm working around. And previously we saw the volume was somewhere around 1.3K and the difficulty was 32%. So there is a great possible chance that it will come up, if written properly, in top 50 for an example. And in this keyword, we know, since it does not have a keyword difficulty and the volume is okayish, 30, if someone searches for, and I have optimized my content around it, definitely it will come in top 10 or even a top 5. So this creates a wide range of what we can do. So these are the examples of the same trend. If we test around just API testing or AI API testing, so all these blocks that are ranking in US, um, right, have these keywords integrated with it. So all I have to do is make it, since we can see it's already in top 5 are these, I can make my blog to attempt a piece of content that I write, attempt on the seventh number. That's still pretty great, right? Now, let's hear about the tools. What tools there are and how we can work around. So I've personally found the SEMrush and Google Trends a great tool. SEMrush for complete domain analysis, um, keyword research, backlink research, and all, and Google Trends for what the developers are actually searching around on across the net, across the domain in my selected, what my selected audience is generally searching around. Other than that, the Moz and href have been also a great tool for just an internal audit purpose. And Answer the Public, I recently came across it. It works similar to how the Google Trends or Google Keyword Planner works. It just shows you across the different platforms or distribution channel you have. For example, it could be Google, it could be Bing, it could be YouTube, it could be TikTok, or it could be Instagram. Across this, what people are searching on the specific, and what's the volume of that specific keyword. You'll be able to find those. So let's move into more on a SEO strategy side. So we learned about how to choose our ICP and choose the topic for that specific ICP. Now, let's example. This is on the same line. This comes on AI API testing. Uh, so you can relate to that. We can see the more keywords that are related. These we call related keywords, which have high volume. And if the KD, we try to keep it between 0 to 50 or below 30, 40. Reason being, if it's below 40, it's very easy to tap in and increase or better rank the piece of content. And if it's below 50, we know there are a lot of content. So the intent would not just be informational, it could be navigational, it could be transactional, it could be commercial. Now, how this intent differ? For example, informational is just a piece of FAQ, a piece of content that describes an FAQ, maybe a blog post where you have experimented with maybe a tool and written your experiences with the tool. So that is called informational. Navigational, if it's a part one and it drives you to the part two, it navigates you to either a new blog post, or it adds a CTA to move into your website or a tool that you tried out. That's in the same domain name. Transactional generally means that you add affiliated links that you someone clicked it and they buyed it. So that kind of is called transactional. Commercial, this is mostly focused by the companies to tap into the network. Okay, I want a buyer, I want to write a piece of content, I have a piece of content that I want the people to read and then buy it out. So you will see the try, start for free, start with a free trial, try at no business cost and such. So those are called transactionals, commercial, sorry, my bad. So if we have pick our topic based on the numbers and the volumes, then we have another set of keywords that we can integrate in the same blocks. These are called the content clusters. So this after the keyword optimization and the topic selection, the second phase comes in to build a content cluster. In simpler terms, it's a central pillar page that's linked to the relative content. So for example, this is a case study of a Twilio SDK API when I was searching. So you will find a lot of articles on how to send SMS with Twilio API. And what kind of contents you will find? You will find it guides and tutorials that are listed on their blog website, or guides, resources. Then you can find, okay, SDKs, what SDKs they have, how to use that, how you can integrate those. Then if you search about the same topic, maybe not on Google but on YouTube, there's a high chance that you will land. There's like, I'm saying high, but although it's very high chance that you will land upon the content with the same keywords. So it will be, it could be either related to Twilio API, or how to send again a tutorial guide, or building a sample app with Twilio. And then you, on their own website, you will find a real world use case, maybe of a project, or of how the other companies are using it. So by building a content cluster, you focus all of your efforts to rank a single page, on a single theme, and distribute it across the different distribution channels. How it happens? So if people are searching not just on Google but on a different platform, maybe um, on a blogging website, and or maybe on a Stack Overflow, are talking about that specific thing, and people then they would be more interested to try it out, at least try it out. And that's the where the P0 or the P1 customer comes in. So when I was searching about Twilio SDK APIs, I got to know that they have this form of a content cluster, and most of their content is either commercial or informative, and that this specific um, the theme takes around 30% of their total traffic. And because of that, just 50% of traffic from per month has been increased approximately. So for, if I'm just taking a rough numbers, I can share the exact ones. um, for example, if it was a 5,000 traffic per month, now it has increased to 50% more, and somewhere around 3,000 ish of the total traffic is coming from just this specific piece of content. So this is how generally we try to build our clusters around making a pillar pages, and then linking to them are different resources, guides, or just bringing the commercial part. So after that, the second part is the code snippets, or the keyword snippets that we call them. Right. How do we track them, or why they are important, how to make it more engaging? There's a specific structure that we generally follow. That's the problem. If it's a introduction to some process, then we write about the introduction to the process, or in the introduction paragraph we write the problems, and then we introduce. The second point, as a reader comes in, uh, I got to know the problem. Will I be able to solve the problem or get a better understanding after reading your blog? Yes. How? Then you include maybe some code samples, some relevant use cases, some industrial metrics, some research, and then add it. And in the and then comes, okay, I have read this blog, but it was too long. How to summarize this? What were my key takeaways from this thing? Then that's why we have a conclusion paragraph. So these three structures are most important. Problem statement that we define at the starting, and then maybe go into the bit more depth, why this is a problem, and what were the possible maybe solutions, how to solve this. This is what the reader is most focused on, and the key takeaways. Now it's a personal experience with key takeaways. Either we can add it as a solution, better, comparison, or a conclusion, or FAQs. Recently, although Google have removed FAQ from their schema. So it's still like a 30-70% ratio if it will work out or not, but it's still a good try that you break your paragraph or the content into the FAQ. So if it does rank relevancy based on the relevancy, it's good for you because the author actually found, or sorry, the reader actually found that this is a helpful article. And this is how the Google also takes each piece of content that it indexes on the Google. It goes through the whole um, piece of content for a blog article maybe, and it sees whether first, if it's an SEO optimized. Okay, it is an SEO optimized. Second, as a reader, does this help me in any way? If the answer is yes, it will definitely put your, or try to rank or bring it to the higher ranks for the users to find it, because it knows this is a genuine article and you are talking about some genuine things which will actually help the readers. So this is how the structure generally goes. It goes with title that should contain your primary keyword, then the main topics which should contain ideally a combination of your primary and secondary keywords, and the 10%. When we are starting our blog, it's very important that in the first 10% of the content we have mentioned our problem statement with our keyword selection, the primary keyword selection. And that's how we navigate and bifurcate as we go down towards the sub, maybe heading 3, heading 4, maybe bullet points until the conclusion. Now that's the important part, like how SEO drives business growth. Till now we have discussed how the things are working, why should they work, and how can we make them work. Let's see the impact and it grows. Um, if we go from a top to bottom funnel, at the top of the funnel, the more content and SEO optimized content that we write, the more awareness it puts out in the on the net about maybe for your um, product. So, for example, here the contents are generally social media post, introductory videos, blog post, and the pure goal here is to increase the brand visibility and traffic to there. So, for example, we can see for me it would be what is Keploy, a beginner's guide. And the metrics that I'll be tracking here would be just pure organic traffic that's coming and the impressions of this specific keyword, because that's my primary goal for this awareness or at the top of the funnel. Now, the second comes the engagement. So, I have already created a piece of content, maybe what is Keploy, a beginner's guide. I'll convert into tutorials or a technical documentation, and the goal here becomes a bit different. The goal here is to help users understand the value that Keploy provides, right? So, for example, it could be integrating Keploy with your Python application, integrating using Keploy to generate your unit test for Golang applications or maybe Node.js applications. So, this will be my middle of funnel, and the metric here will be okay, after this or from this piece of video or technical documentation, how many people actually went to my download or downloaded uh, the Keploy extension or Keploy, try to run the Keploy. What was the views on this piece of content if it's a video, and as well as if it's a webinar or a workshop, then how many people have actually registered for it. So till here it's all about trying to find people, make our content available or discoverable for them. Now comes the bottom of the funnel, that's the conversion. This becomes a bit tricky. Here now we need to convert them to users. For that we need testimonials, case studies, or some migration guides from, if there is already an existing tool, how our tool or how your tool is doing better than that, what are the USPs, and how you can easily shift from tool A to tool B. For in my case it was a migration guide with rest assured. and how to migrate from rest assured to Keploid generated unit test cases, how easy it is, why you should do this. These are the things that I incorporated in that specific blog. Right. And that was pretty much it. Like, now here the goal was again different. The goal was more POCs, or trying out open source tool. How many people have adopted it, how many new users we got. And the metric that here was very different. Now the metric was the users who tried the product, or the new signups on the platform. Right. And uh, this did not end here, as because now if the people are actually trying it, then comes post conversion. We have already gotten people to adopt the tool, try it out. This covers our user journey for the piece of content. They are able to successfully convert or get some users. But I firmly believe that after conversion, the cycle should not end there. It should try to build the loyalty, or like a product loyalty, or just retain those users in form of different side contents like community forums, making a active forum to then to discuss their problems, maybe via GitHub discussion, maybe on a Slack, maybe on a Discord thread, wherever they are able to find the problem and let the team know. and and maybe some more new features that goes on. The only use of this, or the only metric that is associated with this, is the retention. How long we can retain a person, retain user, and with the less amount of churn rates. Because if the churn rate is very high, the retention is very low, then this means that somewhere we are lacking to make our community interesting and um, engaging for them. So these four pillars for DevRel is very important in an SEO funnel. That's, I believe, where we come into a picture. So we discussed around a lot of things like awareness, engagement, conversion, retention, but how these SEO, and how what to track in the as a SEO in a whole as a business. So as a business, we see these four metrics. That's our organic traffic. What's our organic traffic? How much conversion rate we are getting? What is our engagement metrics? Maybe that could be a click through rate, or the amount of time the piece of content is shared or reposted by others. And fourth is very important part. That's the domain authority or domain rank. The more the domain rank is, and or the more the domain ranking is for that specific subdomain, if we have any, is very important. Reason, because it shows both the Google, um, that okay, this blog, or sorry, this website, or this domain has more authoritative content. Authoritative content, when I mean, it means it's written by people who are genuinely solving the problems around that specific theme or the topic. People are finding it very useful. So I should rank it at more higher stage. Now the domain authority via content, if it's increased, it does also expand horizontally or vertically. You can say horizontally, because if someone search uh, and is able to find a piece of content on your website, then they are definitely able to find the pricing for the enterprise version. If you have any premium if you are doing some, if you are in a beta, they are able to navigate to the beta, and at least you get some users onboarded. So higher the domain authority and ranking is, higher your content will be placed on the search results, higher it becomes discoverable. There's a chance of higher discoverability and more users or the readers you can get. So this was just some personal examples that I have been tracking for last 12 months, but just sharing for the 6 months, because after SEO, or in general, as we say, our DevRel is a very long term metric. We generally track it in a 3 to 3 quarter. If the activity that we do, it's not very short, goal oriented. For example, it could be a sign-ups lead to a webinar, or maybe getting newsletter URL, um, like people for the newsletter or webinar attendees and such. In a long term, from the business perspective, it's a 3 to 6 months of a game. So generally in the 6 months, we can see what people across the globe, what who like which people from which country, or what profile people are generally finding our content, how much we have impression on it, how many clicks are there, and in general what is the average position. So for example, this are my some ICPs. um, since we are an Indian based company, definitely India is there. Then comes the United States, then United Kingdom, Germany, Canada, France. And each month we do a different set of activities to improve maybe impressions, then CTRs. Then once the impression is good, the CTR is good, the CTR rate becomes higher. Eventually, the position starts to rank. So, uh, before, like previous to this 6 months, we had almost zero to traffic in United States, kingdoms. The others weren't even present there, and in India, although the impressions were very high, the clicks were very low. But this thing has improved by a significant numbers. So while although these are some important metrics to track your impressions and click-through rates in your different ICPs, another important metrics becomes like engagement rates on the social media, conversion rates from your content view, and if you have added the CTA, for example, try for free, start for free, or maybe you are distributing a free trial. You want, since we are an open source, we give free trial, like free tools to the developer, like free license to the developers. We want to see how many developers have signed in, and how many quality backlinks have been created on various developer sites. So now our domain authority has also increased. So these are the some things that we should track. And for the key takeaways, I hope after this session or talk, you have a better understanding on how you can convert your SEO funnel from just awareness, from visibility, to actually a business value by conversion, bringing in conversion and retention. Sorry. As well as checking on what the business metrics are, how in your business ICP or product ICP you're able to find the market fits. And once the market fit is found, how many people are actually able to discover your product, increase the content discoverability, as well as just a personal note. Although I have mentioned it as like key takeaways, but SEO efforts generally grow exponentially over the time, right? It would take, we can track it by month, but it's good to track it at that quarters. Reason being, once the piece of content is out there, that's our estimation that people will find it, but that's not in a very short term, that's not very visible. It is generally visible when we go through and over and have grown over a period of maybe a 2 months and a 3 months. So that's why earlier I took a 6 month um, metrics. Reason being, I believe it grows same thing. It grows exponentially. So maybe in a 1 month it's not very visible. Maybe in 2 months it's not visible. Maybe in 3 months definitely it shows something, and in 4, 5, 6, and we can see the results in the 6 months. So whatever we write today adds a value to our future business impacts and values that our company is aligned with, right? So this is something that I experimented with across the globe. Previously, we were around like 673K impressions. With bare minimum clicks, it was somewhere around 19K or 1.9K. Exact figures are not very clear. You can see with the graph how it went, and all of these were purely by an SEO and organic traffic. The dip that which you see, for a while we had some issues with, we were migrating, as well as we had some issues with WordPress, so that's why it's a bit down. But that's the general trend, and you can see how it started, like with a bare minimum numbers, maybe insignificance if you want to call it, but those are still pretty great, in my view. So how it went from like those small numbers and accumulated over a period of time to become such a large metrics, and with an average CTR and good average global position. So that's it. Thank you. I hope you got to learn a bit new things about an SEO. Although I could cover just about the keyword optimization, there's also another phase called the performance of your website, or performance of the websites that you have. That also plays a very important role. Um, I'm still, you can find me on a social if you want to know more or discuss few things. I'm happy to help you out. So that's it. Thank you, everyone.